and welcome to Meldon Law and Friends. Today is Tuesday, April 13th, 2021. My name is Chris Qualman. I'm here with Jeffrey Meldon. This is episode number 25. And Jeffrey, quarter century mark. How about that? We made it to 25.
Yeah, the big 2-5. That's pretty exciting. And I want to thank everybody for supporting us in starting the Meldon Law and Friends podcast. And we're so excited. Week after week, we have these amazing guests.
We do, and today is no exception. We'll be talking to Christina Ramos. Did I say that right?
Yes, great job.
From Touching Hearts at Home in just a moment. But we're first going to talk about something we've been talking about for several months. We are, of course, at Meldon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. And to
Congratulations.
that end, I finally said it right. I finally said it right. I've been practicing all week. And we have more tickets to give away. As we've been talking about, you go to the Meldon Law Facebook, not the Meldon Law Facebook page, I screwed that up. You got to go to our website, meldonlaw.com, just as it sounds, meldonlaw.com. Go to the very top of the page. You'll see links for the baseball giveaways and as well as the softball giveaways. Tonight's game, of course, with FSU, huge game. I know we've been looking forward to for a long time. We've already given away the tickets for that. Congratulations to the ticket winners. Jeffrey will come by and see you tonight. But we also have tickets for the Friday night game against Missouri, the 16th. And as usual, we're giving away 6 tickets total, a group of 4 and a group of 2. Right, Jeffrey?
Yes. So we're giving away tickets for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday against Missouri. And for those of you that follow Florida baseball, you know when the SEC season is in full swing, that's when it really gets exciting, and that's where we're at right now.
Exactly, and the parity among the teams is really quite incredible. I mean, you're seeing some great baseball there. We've got a great team. We've seen some great teams play at the new field. I think they're upping their level of play when they come to our stadium.
The last time I checked, 10 of the top 25 teams in college baseball are in the SEC. So you are playing, future major league stars in every game. We got Vanderbilt coming up. It's #1 in the country.
Sure.
So we want everybody to get their free tickets. So go to meldonlaw.com. At the top of the homepage on the red bar, you'll enter the contest. And I'm telling you, I go to a lot of the games. It's really exciting.
Too.
And you're going to be wowed when you see the new baseball stadium.
It truly is incredible, and let's not forget the softball team as well. We do have tickets left for tomorrow night's game against UCF, University of Central Florida. We've got 2 tickets along with a $50 dinner gift certificate. We've got next week, or actually in the weeks coming up, we've got South Carolina for a 3-game series. We've got all sorts of things. So the best thing to do is just to, again, go to the top of the meldonlaw.com homepage, and there's your chance to apply for tickets.
We're ready to go.
So let's get right to our guest, Christina Ramos from Touching Hearts at Home, an organization that does many wonderful things. I'm just going to toss to you and tell us about your organization, what you do.
Absolutely. So Touching Hearts at Home, we've been blessed to be in the community serving for over 10 years, and we're so excited to be here today. Thank you both for having us. We provide in-home care for seniors and adults, and also adults with disabilities. And we provide that personal care and assistance with activities of daily living. So maybe you've had a bad fall, God forbid, you've been in the hospital, maybe a hip transplant or broken a shoulder or some extremity, and you're going to need to come home with some help, whether that's driving or help in the home with bathrooming, toileting, eating, meal preparation, taking those medications, getting to and from all those doctor's appointments. We're there for families to help them with recovery process, and also with seniors to help them age gracefully in place in the comfort of their own home or wherever it is that they call home.
Well, that's amazing, because we all have challenges with our loved ones, whether they're older or younger, when they have a disability, and you're trying to keep the family income together, right?
Correct,
and sometimes you can't do it all, right?
Correct.
So that's where you come in.
Yep, and we see so many times, perhaps it's your mother or father that's aging and needs help at home, but families have full-time jobs and families of their own. So from 9 to 5, they're not able to care for their parents. or their loved ones, and that's where we can come in and provide that exceptional care and also give the families peace of mind so they can continue on with their lives, get the respite care that they need, and, you know, again, be very happy with our exceptional care team.
I'd like to very quickly remind people they can type in a question for us, whether for this man, Jeffrey Meldon, or for Christine. Please give us a call, excuse me, not give us a call, I keep thinking I'm on the radio show. Please go on the Facebook Live chat space, just type in a question, and we'll do our best to answer it. Go for it.
So Christina, I wanted to ask you to give us some examples of what are some of the typical cases. Every case is unique.
Right.
And would you start with, you know, how people can kind of customize their plan? Because I know
Correct.
that's something that you do.
Correct, exactly.
Some people may need 24/7, some may just need a 4-hour block,
Correct.
and you're able to do that, right?
Yeah, so we know that not all seniors age the same way, or not all injuries are the same recovery. So that's where that personalized plan of care is so important to us.
Sure.
We also meet with primary care physicians and the other specialists that may be assisting with your recovery or your current health and well-being. And together as a team, we'll put together that plan of care. In addition, we'll do a complimentary consultation with anybody considering in-home care. And from there, we can gather all the information that we need to put together a really great recommendation for health and safety, and also to prevent any hospitalizations, as well as any trips to the emergency room, God forbid.
What are the advantages of using the home health care that you provide versus the alternatives?
Sure. So home care is great, especially during this pandemic. Being at home is where most people want to be and age in place. It's significantly cheaper to go with home care, which is great because it's that personalized attention and care versus a group community where maybe it's one nurse per 20, 30 residents. In addition, we are able to provide those certified nursing assistants, personal care assistants, and home health aides. So we're not just hiring warm bodies off the street. We are looking for the best of the best with a minimum of 2 years experience. And all of our care partners are our employees. They're licensed, they're insured, they're bonded. And we teach them, even if they come to us with this great background, we teach them our standards and our level of care.
We got a couple of questions
Ooh,
from
we
Facebook
do.
Live. How about that? You're a star.
Yeah.
From Mary Rebecca, she's asking, Christina, does your organization help with Alzheimer's patients at home?
Well, Mary, that's a great question. I'm so glad you asked. So my parents actually started Touching Hearts at Home because my grandmother was diagnosed with dementia. So Alzheimer's and dementia care is one of our best specialty care programs, and it's near and dear to our hearts. It's actually why we got in the business. My parents realized after assisting my grandmother that there were so many other families that we could help. We're also very involved with the Alzheimer's Association and the Alzheimer's Foundation, and we are committed to training our caregivers for especially how to handle those seniors with Alzheimer's and memory problems.
You know, it's interesting because we have my mother-in-law, who's 88 years old, is in our home, and she's still pretty with it, but she's, you know, aging and starting to
Yeah.
lose it and going, you know, where am I, and stuff like that.
She'd whoop you side of the head if she heard you say that.
So what are some of the strategies that you employ with people that are, you know, able to get around? They don't need to be in a home. They don't need to be in a hospital. Being home, I'm talking about a resident home
Yeah.
versus their own home.
Yeah.
What are some of the strategies you employ to help folks that are in that situation where they're caring for an elderly loved one?
Yeah, sure. So we really do want to come in and figure out where the steps are missing, or we can fill in. So maybe it is those medication reminders that they need, meal reminders. Even if seniors don't have dementia or Alzheimer's, it's oftentimes very easy to forget what time of day it is, what day of the week
I
it
do
is.
that all the time,
Exactly.
right?
I forgot to eat lunch yesterday. So being able to provide that, whether you are in the home or at an assisted living community, is definitely a benefit. And also with seniors, we have to be very, very concerned with falls. So we're going to be looking at the home or the assisted living community to reduce those hazards and to make sure we're paying close attention.
One point, though, that I found fascinating from reading the bio, It's not just for seniors, though. It's for anybody
Correct.
that has a disability. It could be a young person. It could be an adolescent. It could be anyone
Correct.
who may be recovering from major surgery. It's
Yeah.
not just seniors,
Yeah.
right?
So true. We've seen young guns that need help after a major operation. Someone who just had a heart transplant, was in their 40s, needed our services. Again, with that recovery period, you really want to make sure you're following doctor's orders, getting to those follow-up appointments, doing those PT therapies and exercises where we can provide those reminders as well. And we're going to be there to make sure that everybody's doing their part for the road to recovery.
We got a couple more questions. Belinda
Awesome.
has written us a question on Facebook Live. She asks, is this service only for the Gainesville area? If so, would you have connections to organizations around Florida?
Another great question, Belinda. Touching Hearts at Home, we actually service 11 counties here in North Central Florida. So Gainesville, Lake City, Alachua, Melrose, Palatka, you name it. Gilchrist County, Lafayette, Sumter, we're everywhere if you want to check our website. And there are several other Touching Hearts at Home in the state of Florida,
Okay.
but we can absolutely be that resource to connect people.
Jill Maxwell actually asks, is there a number? Let's go ahead and give it to them. Is there a toll-free
please.
number?
Yes, so we are 24/7. Our number at our offices is 352-225-3727. And you can call us 24/7. Someone live will answer the phone. We don't farm out our calls to a call center. We're here to
And if
help.
they want to check you out on the web, where do they go?
Yeah, sure. So it's touchinghearts.com/Gainesville. And we'd also encourage you to check out all of our Google reviews. They're spectacular. And check us out on Facebook. We post a lot of our community events and the wonderful health and safety tips that we work with all of our partners to.
I wanted to ask
get.
you about the growth of the company. How long has your family been involved with Touching Hearts? And tell us a little bit about the growth.
Yeah, sure. So we actually started over 10 years ago, and my parents have been operating from day to day. We hired an exceptional executive director, Elizabeth Holleran, who's wonderful as well. We actually just opened a new office in Lake City about 2 years ago. So that's been great growth, and we're always looking to be able to provide care to more adults in need.
Well, good.
We're about to cut to a break. Christina, this is so incredibly informative, and your company provides such an amazingly important service.
Thank you so
we'll
much.
be talking more about it in the second segment. We also want to remind everybody that we have in the second half of the program another outstanding guest, longtime friend of Jeffrey's, someone I've actually known also for a long time, Paul Donnelly, who is a labor and employment attorney. He's a man of many hats. He'll be talking about a lot of things in segments 3 and 4 about the impact of COVID on employment law issues, and I'm sure many other things. Want to remind everybody also, we are live on Facebook. Please text us or send us your questions. Just put them in the comments section. We'll answer them the best we can. It's AMA, ask me anything. That's Jeffrey Meldon's motto. So whatever it is, ask us. Again, you're watching Meldon Law and Friends, a service of Meldon Law, a statewide law firm. We will be right back.
The Gator Nation will be the first to tell you that in all kinds of weather, we all stick together, which is why Meldon Law is honored to be the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. We hope you never find yourself the victim of a serious accident, but if you do, our team is here for you. Gators won't back down from a fight, and neither do we. When you're a member of the Gator Nation, you know what it means to never back down. Meldon Law has been a proud supporter of the Gator Nation since 1971. Two forces that won't back down. As the old saying goes, if you can't beat them, join them.
Hello and welcome back to today's episode of Meldon Law and Friends, a service of Meldon Law, a statewide law firm with its primary office in Gainesville, Florida, where we've been since the early 70s. We also have an office in South Florida covering the entire Tri-County South Florida area, from Miami-Dade through Broward, all the way up through Palm Beach County, and a brand new office in Marion County in Ocala, where Jeffrey's been practicing for 43 years. Great new office. Please check it out over on Pine Street, 1326 South Pine. I got that right.
Yeah, and for those of you that want to see me digging dirt, this Friday and Saturday, my wife Patricia and Mark and Rick are going to be out there putting in all these great palm trees and beautiful flowers and plants. So we're going to be sprucing up the Ocala office. So everybody is going to have not only an exceptional experience inside the building, but outside the building as well.
It's a very unique building. They've kept the architecture. It's an old mid-century modern type design. Would that be a good way to describe it?
It was built 1959, designed after a Happy Days dine-in, drive-in diner. That's what it looks like with the, flying roof coming off of the building and everything. So it's really cool. Come and visit us anytime. We're finished inside and we're finishing up the outside.
As I announced at the beginning of the show, we still have tickets available on the Meldon Law website, www.meldonlaw.com, for upcoming baseball and softball games. I have been given the winner, though, for tonight's FSU game. We want to congratulate Tammy Pitt for winning the 4 tickets and a $100 dinner gift certificate. So congratulations, Tammy. We know you and your family will have a great time. Also, I want to remind everybody that Meldon Law is the official community partner of Gainesville and Alachua County. I know that's something you've worked very hard on, Jeffrey, and community service has always been a hallmark of the law firm.
Yeah, it's our privilege to give back to the community, Chris, and we really want to thank everybody in the community for helping us grow and, in turn, giving back more to the community.
Want to remind everybody, too, that you can ask us questions live today on Facebook Live simply by, if you're watching it on the Meldon Law Facebook platform, you can type in a comment, type in a question. You can ask Christina Ramos, our esteemed guest from Touching Hearts at Home, or you can ask Jeffrey Meldon anything that you want. AMA, ask him anything. So here we go. Christina, again, thank you so much for being here today. And I know your organization does a lot of community service. You do a lot of giving back to the community. So talk a little bit about that, please.
Sure. So just like Jeffrey said, we feel like it's our duty and responsibility to give back to the community at Touching Hearts at Home. And during the pandemic, that was really our calling, to help seniors in need. We heard initially at the start of the pandemic that seniors were the most impacted, that they were having to undergo a lot of social isolation. They weren't leaving their homes, and we quickly realized that we needed to help our seniors. It's what we stand for, that's what we do daily. So we had the privilege of creating a lot of really fun and unique and impactful community service projects, from a Touch a Senior's Heart greeting card campaign. We knew the students were home from school needing something to do. What better way to show their creativity and that they care than making homemade cards for seniors? And we distribute them to many of the local nursing homes that were under lockdown. In addition, another project that we came up with that really involved our entire healthcare community, we put together a Touching Hearts at Home car parade. So we had over 30 decorated vehicles, and we mapped out a parade route in Gainesville to hit over 12 nursing homes and hospices. And I get chills just thinking about it, but when we drove by some of these homes, the seniors were out in their wheelchairs, socially distanced, wearing their full protection with the healthcare heroes. And for many, it was the first time they'd been outside in months. So it was incredible. We decided to redo the whole parade again for the holidays. We had Santa Claus in a red Mercedes-Benz convertible. It was fantastic.
Who came up with that idea?
It just came to me one day. So, and that's what we love. There's no set rules for how to give back. We just know what we need to do, brighten spirits, show our support. And as soon as we started thinking, that's when all the good ideas came to us as a team.
Christina, could you tell us what differentiates your group from other companies that do similar things?
Yeah, I appreciate that question because it's so important to us. In addition to providing the best care in North Central Florida, we really do take a huge responsibility and ownership of everything we do daily with each and every one of our clients. And that's from the top of our organization all the way to every single one of our care partners. So again, focusing on that personalized plan of care and really trying to anticipate our clients' needs, that's what we are the best at. In addition, like I mentioned before, we're not just hiring warm bodies. We need those CNAs, HHAs, and personal care assistants that are licensed and coming to us with a minimum of 2 years experience. So this is not their first rodeo. They have great experience, and then we're training them with the Touching Hearts at Home way. But again, we really believe that we're not only there to provide that exceptional care, but also to bring joy to seniors' lives, to make them feel safe and comfortable at home. And we believe in that open communication with their healthcare providers as well as their family members.
What are some of the things you do that, makes it more fun?
Yeah, sure. So I can think of one example. Last week, we knew of one of our seniors who was celebrating her 101st birthday.
Wow.
Oh my, we had to go over and surprise her at her home with balloons and flowers, and we heard from her care partner that she loved chocolate cake, so we got one of those ooey gooey fudge cakes, specialty cakes, and just seeing her smile on her face, knowing that her family lives across the country, that was a real honor, and I love birthdays for that reason. We had another client, couple, husband and wife, celebrating, I think it was their 55th wedding anniversary, so the care partner taking them flowers and surprising them with a home-cooked dinner, something that was a little more fancy compared to their traditional dinner. It's those special touches. We really care about our clients. They are people to us. They're part of our family when they join our team and our services.
As I understand it, if people have either long-term health plans or they want to just pay, by check or credit card or whatever, that's an option, right?
Yep. So there are about 15 long-term care health insurances that we work well with, and they'll cover 80 to 90% of our services. So that's a great benefit to cover our costs. In addition, if we're working with veterans or a spouse of a deceased veteran, we can always work to get them some applications and eligibility for maybe some additional income. But otherwise, it's out-of-pocket private pay.
So there's different options.
Yeah.
So when people are buying insurance, tell us a little bit about buying long-term health care, and would you go to your like if you got Blue Cross, would you reach out to Blue Cross for it, or would you go to a specialty plan, or what?
Yeah, so Florida Blue and Blue Cross probably wouldn't be the best way. I would probably try to Google it, and some of the top companies and providers are MetLife and Prudential. You could also contact your financial advisor, who could put you in connection with a really good plan for your needs. But the other interesting thing about that long-term care insurance that we always like to make sure we're communicating is oftentimes people sign up for it when they're 40 years old. And by the time they're 90 or 80, they've forgotten that they have this incredible benefit at their resource. So we always like to tell people to double check and make sure, to see if they have long-term care insurance, because you either use it or you lose it. So it's always a good idea to see how it can help.
That might be a new chapter to add to your insurance book.
Well, it sounds to me this is more in the nature of life insurance, right?
Similar, very similar.
Yeah, I know, my mom and dad had that set up, and as my mom got older, she had some, benefits from it all, although she refused to go into a home, right, when she needed to, so my job was to get our housekeeper that had been with us for 50 years to move back into the home with her and take care of her full time.
Yeah.
But it's similar to what you're doing, is you don't always have that resource available.
Of course. Sure. And, we get that same kind of opinion. Seniors don't want to leave their home. So if need be, and we have to have that difficult conversation, let us do that. So, as the son, you don't have to have this bitter relationship with your mom trying to talk about the best care solutions, and maybe it is a nursing home. We can explain all those reasons why, or be that alternative to keep them home.
Yeah, I think it's great what you're doing, because it's healthier. It makes the senior or the disabled person happier. It keeps them out of dangerous places like hospitals or nursing homes, right? Those are very dangerous places. And that, not that they don't do good work, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure.
It's always safer at home. And so I think what you're doing is just so important, because, and it strikes home with me because, with my mom, now with my mother-in-law, we've always tried to take care of them at home, but we have always had to get assistance And for some folks, it's not that easy to
Correct.
figure out where to go.
Correct. And that's where we always say we love to be a trusted community resource. So we actually have a segment on TV 20 called the Touching Hearts at Home
Okay.
Senior Spotlight. Whatever we can do to help inform people, give them resources, organizations to contact, people to consider, that's what we're all about as well.
So, yeah, how do they get a hold of you again?
Sure. So our number at our offices is 352-225-3727. And you can call us 24/7. We're always
We
ready
do
to
have a
take
couple of
calls.
minutes left, so
Sure.
if anyone watching on Facebook has a question for Christina Ramos about her organization, Touching Hearts at Home, please type it in the comments section. We'll be glad to answer it the best we can, although she's doing a pretty darn good job,
Thank
so
you.
I don't think she'd have any problem there. Again, you are watching Meldon Law and Friends. We are live today. It is Tuesday, April 13th, 2021, and again, I'm just so, I echo Jeffrey's thoughts. I think what you do is so incredibly important.
you. Thank
You were
you very
mentioning
much.
the Senior Spotlight. When is that on TV 20?
Sure. So we air in the morning edition on Wednesdays on
Okay.
TV 20. Yep. And we're very excited. Depending on the month, maybe it's National Kidney Disease Awareness Month or National Hearing Month just hit us. So we'll give lots of great tips for just healthy aging.
Well, good. Well, listen, it's been wonderful having
Thank
you
you
as a
so
guest.
much, Jeffrey.
We
Thank
wanna-
you, Chris. Thank you for having me.
And we want to continue to let people know about
Thank you.
Touching Hearts, because
We
you're
love
doing
that.
a great job.
Thank
And
you.
whatever Meldon Law can do to collaborate and support the great work you're doing, we're there for you.
Well,
I think
thank
when
you.
someone reaches 100, maybe that's something for our newsletter.
I
There
think
you
that
go.
I think-
let's celebrate our
I
centennials,
think we
right?
should put that in our newsletter, so that's
Love
something
it.
that'll come forward. Again, you're watching Meldon Law and Friends. Please stay tuned. We've got a great couple of segments coming up with Attorney Paul Donnelly, a labor and employment specialist, a man of many hats, and I'm sure you'll find that very informative. Thank you for watching. We'll be right back.
When you're a member of the Gator Nation, you know what it means to never back down. Meldon Law has been a proud supporter of the Gator Nation since 1971. Two forces that won't back down. As the old saying goes, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em.
Well, I was in a truck accident. Because of the accident, I've resulted in 3 back surgeries. We saw advertisements on TV, and guess who popped up more often than not? It was Jeffrey. The communication that he provided was so appreciative that he shows his compassion as a human. He assisted us in achieving one of our dreams, the acquisition of a home, and we're here today with smiles on our face with the assistance from Jeffrey.
And I was in an accident. Someone ran a red light and hit me, and I was hurt. You don't know where to turn. Luckily, I called Jeffrey. These big insurance companies, they don't want you to win. They truly don't. But Jeffrey and his firm and the people that work here, they just really fight for you. You call the law offices of Jeffrey Meldon, because you're going to need help, and they will help you.
The Meldon Law Firm from the beginning has been built on giving back to the community. I enjoy coming to work as much today as I did in 1971 when I opened my practice. I don't look at this as a job, I look at it as serving other people. While we're alive, what better feeling can you achieve than knowing that you've helped other people and thereby you enrich your own life?
Being a client at Meldon Law was special because I felt like I was really being listened to and I felt welcome by the entire staff. If I were in a situation where I needed legal advice and help, I would absolutely reach out to Jeffrey because his reputation alone speaks for itself. But on a personal level, I know that he would take care of me and help me solve those problems, and I would feel safe with him.
The Gator Nation will be the first to tell you that in all kinds of weather, we all stick together, which is why Meldon Law is honored to be the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. We hope you never find yourself the victim of a serious accident, but if you do, our team is here for you. Gators won't back down from a fight, and neither do we.
Hello and welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. Today is Tuesday, April 13th, 2021. My name is Chris Qualman. I'm here with Jeffrey Meldon, President, Managing Partner, and Founder of Meldon Law. And we're very happy to have you joining us today, whether you're watching it on Facebook Live or one of the many, actually 39, I believe, to be exact, audio platforms, ranging from Amazon Music to God knows how many others. Whatever it is your favorite audio platform is, thank you for listening. And I want to remind everybody again that we do still have tickets available for the Friday night baseball game against Missouri. Simply go to the Meldon Law internet, our regular homepage, just meldonlaw.com. The banner at the very top, you'll see a link for softball and baseball. Well, again, we want to congratulate our winners, Jeffrey, for tonight. Tammy Pitt won 4 tickets and a gift certificate to the FSU game.
Yes, and we're really excited. I'm going to go there with Carrie Meldon, and we're going to watch the Florida Gators beat FSU.
I sure hope they do. I think they've got an excellent chance. What are your thoughts about the game?
Well, they're both two great teams, and they're
A lot of tradition.
and FSU always has great baseball teams, as does the Florida Gators. So it's exciting, and those of you that can't go can go on the SEC network because they're televising the game.
And the winners, will, if they're in our normal seats, they'll be on television tonight.
Absolutely.
Because the way they're positioned behind that third baseline. So that's another added bonus about applying for the tickets. We have a great guest. I want to get right to him. Paul Donnelly is an attorney here in Gainesville. Jeffrey's known him for a long time. I knew him back in law school days, back in the early 80s. He manages a law practice, Donnelly+Gross, here in Gainesville that provides day-to-day representation of workplace and people management issues. Paul works with and represents small businesses, national corporations, professionals, highly compensated executives, and in doing so, he has 30 years of experience as an attorney who's traveled across the state of Florida, consulting with clients, representing them in contract negotiations and also in litigation matters. We could probably go on and on about his accomplishments, which are many. He's been a law school instructor, done many things. Maybe he'll talk about his musicianship work a little bit later on in today's interview. But Paul, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's good to see you, and I appreciate it.
Well, great. So you've been in our radio show before. So this is, a new format. We're live. We're getting questions, and I wanted to jump right into what's going on as far as employer and employee relationships during COVID. That's a hot topic. Can you start out and tell us what your life has been like as far as helping your clients?
Well, it's a dizzying, fast-moving area because we've got so many unknowns and new laws that are being enacted and regulations that are being enacted constantly. We have actually a very good resource for folks on our website under the news section. We regularly send out to an email list, which I can invite people to join.
Tell us.
Please
tell
do,
us,
yeah.
tell
Okay, if you email dg@Donnelly+Gross.com, that's dg@Donnelly+Gross.com, we'll be sure to add you to the list. But when something important comes out from the federal government, the state government, or the various governmental agencies, we will send out an email blast of a very succinct summary and explanation of what's important for folks to know out of that. Now, usually our focus is on helping businesses, employers navigate this array of laws and regulations that have come into place since March of
Now,
2002.
One of the things that has been in the news a lot is whether or not employers can either incentivize or penalize their employees for getting COVID injections, and what are the rules on that?
Okay, that's a great question. The main federal agency for the United States government that really, under the employment laws, regulates that kind of thing is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the EEOC. And the EEOC has issued guidance that it is perfectly within an employer's right to require all employees to be vaccinated. Now, there are two things that have to be sort of watched out for. If an employee has a bona fide real need for reasonable accommodation given a disability, and it's got to be, there's a very specific definition of what is and what isn't a disability under the Americans with Disabilities Act, then the employer and the employee need to get involved in an interactive process to figure out what is a reasonable accommodation, perhaps, to not be vaccinated. The second area is regarding religion. And so federal law protects people's right to practice their religious beliefs. And so those may also have to be accommodated in the vaccination context. But an employer is permitted to require vaccination and just be sensitive to accommodating folks who have bona fide religious needs or medical disability needs.
What are some examples of what employers that you represent have done with regard to COVID vaccinations?
Well, many are requiring vaccinations. Some don't. It's totally up to the employer and what kind of culture or business practices they feel are important. But many are requiring the vaccination and assisting employees in getting vaccinated.
And what are some of the typical things you work with employers on, not COVID related? What's the day in, day out for Paul Donnelly? And, you know, we'll talk about maybe before COVID, because I know COVID's probably taken up a huge amount of space.
It really has. And staying on top of all the legal developments. I mean, there's an alphabet soup of regulatory agencies. I mentioned the EEOC, there's OSHA, the Department of Labor, the Wage and Hour Division, just to name a few. But non-COVID related things, we pretty much help employers navigate and solve problems related to anything employment related except workers' comp. So I'm not really an expert on workers' comp, which is there to help people who are injured on the job, but pretty much everything else. So this can range from how we handle employee relations. There may be an issue with an employee or group of employees regarding their performance and complying with standards. So we help navigate that. So the practice really is twofold. One is helping employers get through the employment relationship in a way that avoids disputes, that avoids cases getting up to the level of getting into court. But then again, we have a major part of what we do is helping businesses when there has been a lawsuit or a claim filed against the business. And this can range from anything from overtime minimum wage claims to claims involving sexual harassment or racial harassment or age discrimination, whistleblowing, all kinds of, I mean, there's a massive number of laws both in the state court system and in the federal court system that we help businesses with. But what's particularly gratifying is keeping employers out of having to have their time, money, and energy distracted by the legal system.
Sure.
Now, what size company do you have to be to go to Donnelly+Gross for advice?
Well, that's a fantastic question because it varies according to these different laws. The overtime and minimum wage and child labor law, which is really a federal law, though the state here of Florida has adopted the same standards. That law applies to businesses of 2 or more people, and the owners are often counted in that. So that's basically everybody.
So in other words, if you got a small business, you just can't assume, this doesn't apply to me.
Right.
You have to consult with somebody like you that knows all this.
It really is an ounce of prevention, is worth a pound of cure. Now, most of the other laws, federal and state, like the laws regarding sexual harassment and sexual discrimination or racial discrimination, age, disability, religion, marital status, whistleblowing. I'm probably leaving out many. They all require, most require 15 or more names on the payroll. And it even gets more technical. It's 15 or more names on the payroll in 20 consecutive calendar weeks in this or the preceding year. But bottom line is 15 names on the payroll. So a part-time person who may only work 5 hours a week counts as one.
Okay.
Now, there are, the 15 threshold is required for state and federal, most state and federal laws. The Family and Medical Leave Act requires 50 or more. So it gets very specific. There are city and county ordinances here in the Gainesville-Alachua County area, and then also we have an office in Fort Myers and in those areas, and pretty much most cities and counties in Florida have some sort of laws that are versions of those state and federal laws. And here in Alachua County and Gainesville, the threshold is 5 or more employees.
So things change, and if folks want to get a hold of you, what do they have to do?
Well, it's easy with the website because you can contact us there, Donnelly+Gross.com, or just give a ring to 352-374-4001.
This is an extraordinarily informative segment, to say the very least. So if any of you have questions for Paul Donnelly, this is a topic that is so timely and so incredibly important. Please send them to us off Facebook Live. Just type your question in the comments section, and we'll give it to Paul and see where we go with it. Again, you are watching Meldon Law and Friends, a service of Meldon Law. We are a firm, for those of you who don't know, that specializes in injury cases, personal injury matters, everything ranging from motor vehicle crashes to big truck collisions on the highway, to in cases involving pedestrians, people on scooters, bicycles, anything involving a negligent act that results in an injury to another. We handle those types of cases, have been doing so now in our 6th decade. Pretty amazing. This whole thing started with Jeffrey back in the early 70s, and you actually have an anniversary coming up this year, recognized by the Florida Bar.
Oh, that's right. I got a letter.
Yes.
They gave me the Old Timers Award.
That's like being inducted in the AARP.
I think it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, no, I got a letter. They said I've been a member of the bar for 50 years, and they're going to have a party for me in June. So.
I think that's pretty incredible. So 50-year anniversary of as a lawyer, Jeffrey Meldon, coming up. Again, you're watching Meldon Law and Friends. Today is Tuesday, April 13th, 2021. Great episode with Attorney Paul Donnelly. We'll be right back after this.
When you're a member of the Gator Nation, you know what it means to never back down. Meldon Law has been a proud supporter of the Gator Nation since 1971. Two forces that won't back down. As the old saying goes, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em. The Gator Nation will be the first to tell you that in all kinds of weather, we all stick together, which is why Meldon Law is honored to be the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. We hope you never find yourself the victim of a serious accident, but if you do, our team is here for you. Gators won't back down from a fight, and neither do we.
Hello and welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends, live on Facebook. Today, Tuesday, April 13th, 2021. My name is Chris Qualman, and I'm here with my friend, my mentor, the president, the founder of Meldon Law, Jeffrey Meldon, and we're so happy to have Paul Donnelly, a labor and employment attorney, telling us all kinds of things that I would have never thought about. So I'm so happy you're here. Please, by all means, if you have a question for Paul or for Jeffrey, please send it to us on Facebook Live. Just type it into the comments section, and hey, we'll give it our best shot at answering it. Want to remind everybody we still have tickets left also for this weekend's game coming up against Missouri. Tickets already given away for the game tonight against FSU, but we've got softball games coming up. You can see it all. Just go to our page, meldonlaw.com. Click the link at the top. You'll see all kinds of opportunities to win tickets.
So I have a question for Paul. We're dealing with a lot of people that started working remote.
Yeah.
And now everybody's going, man, I like working from home. Okay, as an employer, what are your rights to deal with all of that?
Look, the employer, absent a contract that says otherwise between the employer and the employee, or a group of employees, because you could have a collective bargaining agreement, for example, in a unionized workforce, really it's at the discretion of the employer. So it really is up to the employer to make those decisions. Now, under some, I would call them relatively rare circumstances, there may be some, for certain folks who might qualify under the Americans with Disabilities Act, there may be some requirements for reasonable accommodation that take into account allowing the remote work. Prior to the COVID, though, that was not really found to generally be a reasonable accommodation in most cases. So really, it's up to the business to decide how best to run the business. Now, on my business card, which these days I don't give out as much anymore, and it's the age of the internet, under my name I have attorney and counselor at law to say what my title is, and I do that on purpose. So we can advise clients and help them think things through like a lawyer. What's the law? Where does the law touch this situation or not? But then the counselor at law is how do you navigate through this so that you get to a good result, right? And I know that's what you do day in and day out, and Chris does as well. As the counselor at law part, I would suggest that the society has undergone some very profound changes, and that we are not going to go back to the way that we did a lot of some things. So
like we're zooming now on all these court proceedings, right?
Right. Like, for example, the court here in Alachua County, at least handling civil cases, which is what we do. Well, no, you do the criminal law as well.
Yes.
You do the criminal law as well. I can speak to the civil area. It is my understanding that the courts are not going to go back to in-person hearings unless they are the most, they've got to be very unique, specific circumstances. So the judges are going to hear things remotely. Now, I'm a big fan of that. At first, I was very skeptical that this would work. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but it has worked marvelously, and it has saved clients significant expense.
Oh. Absolutely.
Just absolutely
Saves us
been
expense,
remarkable.
Travel expense.
Oh, it's fantastic. Like one of the things I don't know that we've mentioned yet is a large portion of what we do at Donnelly+Gross is helping firefighter and law enforcement unions, associations all around Florida. So, for example, I'm proud to represent the Escambia County firefighters and the Pensacola firefighters. For us to help them with the case, help them with a matter, help them with collective bargaining and unfair labor practice and arbitration, these kinds of things, we don't have to drive 4 hours one way and 4 hours back. Therefore, we can save the client all that time. They don't have to fly, the city of Pensacola and the Firefighters Association doesn't have to fly in an arbitrator and pay her days to travel either side and put us all up in hotels and all that. I just think it's absolutely remarkable. I hope that does some justice to your question.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're excited as well. And for our listeners and viewers, what we're talking about is the fact that a lot of the lawyers' time was not only being billed to clients, but it was fairly unproductive time for the lawyers, and we really didn't like driving 2 hours for a 5-minute hearing and 2 hours back. Even if we could bill it, we were much more productive being in our office.
Absolutely.
And even if it's a case here in town where we live, okay, I no longer have to box everything up, drive to the courthouse, my clients don't either, park, go through security, wait for your case to be called, and then do the reversed coming home, right? There's none of that anymore. And so I think it's absolutely marvelous.
Jury trials, I think you'll still see
right,
face
you'll
to
definitely
face.
see that.
Just to have the face to face with the jurors and everything. I wanted to ask you one thing that we haven't talked about yet. Minimum wage. A lot of misunderstanding about the minimum wage situation. The state of Florida did vote to raise the minimum wage, but I saw you have an excellent article, along with many excellent articles, I should say, on your webpage. Talk a little bit about that. It's not going into effect right away.
No, it isn't. The voters of the state of Florida passed a constitutional amendment in the most recent round that raised the minimum wage in Florida to $15 per hour, but it phases it in over a period of 5 years. So it doesn't become $15 an hour until, I think it's September of 2016.
Or 27.
I'm sorry, 2026. Excuse me, I'm wishful thinking.
It goes to $10 an hour in September of this year?
I think that's right. I have to look at
And
the
then it
list.
goes up
incrementally.
It goes up $1 per year.
Yeah, I believe that's
after that.
correct.
Okay, so that's a big deal for employers to be aware of, right? Because I would assume if you pay somebody less, they have the right to make a claim and say you violated the law.
That's right.
So we got, now, one other thing I think is very important is to let
Jay,
everybody...
may I mention something while you say that?
Sure.
It's very important for people to know that though they hear that the federal minimum wage is what is it, $7.25 an hour or something like that. It's something that no one uses anymore. And there's all this talk about in the federal law raising the federal minimum wage, but the way that the federal minimum wage law that allows people to sue the employer for not paying the minimum wage works is it adopts the state minimum wage.
I see.
So I'm sorry to interrupt your
That's a great
question.
point. No, huge
so
point.
it's very important that Florida employers know that they need to use the state minimum wage, not the federal minimum wage, and that if they don't, they can be sued in federal court under the federal law.
So all of our listeners, if you call Paul Donnelly, he will explain this all to you, okay? And it's very, so one thing we have not gotten to, but it's very, very important, and I want everybody to pay attention to this because our guest, Paul Donnelly, has an alter ego, and I understand it's Don Pablo, is that correct?
That's the name.
And tell us a little bit about Don Pablo.
Well, okay, secrets are being revealed. It's not so secret. Chris and I actually, like he mentioned at the beginning, have known each other since the early to mid-90s when we were both at the University of Florida. And we know each other from in this way. Chris are you still a phenomenal concert promoter and producer?
Yeah,
You still do.
back in my days, I used to run the University of Florida's concert program.
Right, and it was spectacular. I have been very totally into Jamaican and Caribbean music, particularly dancehall music and hip hop music, primarily out of the United States, since the outset, since the late 70s. And the only way to really, those shows were not big enough for Chris's group. And so the only way
we did Grandmaster Flash.
You did Grandmaster Flash,
Yes.
who I saw at the O'Connell Center and opened for Roger Troutman and the Zap Band, who were opening for Evelyn Champagne King. That I will never forget that
Nice
show.
show.
It was a great show. I was listening to Roger Troutman last night, but sent one of his tunes to my daughter. But the only way we really could get the dance hall Jamaican reggae music here was to bring sound systems from Jacksonville, where there's a significant Jamaican and Caribbean community, and bands and reggae bands to Gainesville. So we would produce those concerts. And as a result of being immersed in the music for so long, I developed the ability to speak and sing or rap in Jamaican patois.
We might have to ask you to come on.
No, it's not going to happen. Yeah, it's got to be the right environment. But so hence the name Don Pablo. Don in Jamaican means boss. So my nickname's been Pablo since high school, and so that's where it comes from.
Now, so you are in a band, right? You have a band, and you get together and you perform, and you don't look like a sport coat.
No.
And tell us how you look when you're performing.
Well, I mean, I look like myself. I hope that, you know, the drip is a little more leveled up for the occasion. You know, I mean, you know, it's a different flex, but it's really not just one band. What I am is called a DJ in Jamaican dance hall music. That's the equivalent of the rapper in hip hop. And if any people who know the history of hip hop know that the historical roots of hip hop are dance hall Jamaican music. Kool Herc was credited as the first sort of street party, house party DJ in hip hop. And hip hop, the DJ is the person who puts on the records and selects the records. In Jamaican music, that person's called a selector. Well, in Jamaican music, a DJ is the rapper. Okay, so that's what I do. I do that. Now, all DJs perform over the same, and singers who are singing dance hall and reggae music, do this over rhythms that are originally done on sound system with 2 turntables and a microphone. We simply turn the record over and have an instrumental side, and the live performances ensue. Not going to happen. They want me to chat rap. That's not going to happen. It's got to be the right environment.
Are there videos though? I mean, do you
there are
have stuff-
videos on.
Yeah,
on
tell
the-
us how we can track you
on
down.
Facebook. Search Don Pablo Gainesville, and I'll friend you.
Don Pablo
Yeah.
Gainesville.
Yeah, and there's videos in that. That's the stage persona. But basically, Jeffrey, to answer your question, bands in the Gainesville, Orlando, Jacksonville, and other areas have been doing this music for a long time.
Peely Peely.
Peely Peely from back in the day is still performing over in St. Augustine and at the beaches primarily. And I just perform with them because the rhythms and the music are all from the same sources.
Have you ever been to the Sunfest in Jamaica?
No.
Now,
No.
I was there about 20 years ago, and it goes all day,
Yeah.
all night, and
exactly.
the music is just incredible.
It's very moving.
And very moving. And I know you've been to Jamaica a number of times.
I've been to Jamaica one time.
You're kidding.
Only once.
Wow.
Wow. And,
You know lots about it.
A little bit.
well,
But I'm fortunate to have long-term, deep and wonderful friendships and relationships with
Did you go to
many
Peter
folks in the
Tosh?
Jamaican community. I did, and I was right up
Halloween
front.
Ball,
I did. You did that show,
1982.
Halloween Ball,
Yeah.
and I was in high school at the time, and I went up. I was front row, and I still have pictures that I took of that show.
That was a great show.
It was incredible.
So we've learned more dimensions of this amazing guy. Hey, you know, it was revealed that I have an alter ego as a wrestling ring announcer. So, you know, we all have our second careers. Gosh, this guy's got lots of them. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago.
On the Facebook page for Don Pablo, we'll be able to see whenever live performances start.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're performing, because I've
Right.
seen Paul perform, and I love it. I mean, I'm a huge Jamaican music fan, and
It's not-
you really do it justice.
Thank
I
you
have
for
to tell
saying
you.
that, and it's not believable till you see it and hear it. It doesn't. It just isn't.
So, Paul, take us back to your website where people can get information about labor law, employment law topics, so many different things. Where do they go?
Donnelly+Gross.com. It's just DONNELLYGROSS.com. I'm sure they'll put it in the comments.
Okay. Well, again, this has been terrific. You know, any closing thoughts you'd like to share with everybody? There's so many things going on with the whole COVID situation.
It's really fascinating what we are going through as a society. And now that many of us are vaccinated, I'm thankful that I've got my second vaccine in me. It opens up a whole lot of possibilities, and I don't think we are going to go back to where we were in several areas.
I think the way they say it is the toothpaste is out of the tube.
Yes, they believe.
And it's not going back.
Absolutely.
I'm being nudged also gently by our producer. We've got to wrap up again. Paul, thank you so much. This has been such an incredibly informative episode. It will be on our page. It will be on YouTube, so you can link to it, send it to your friends and clients. Jeffrey, again, another great episode, and I've really enjoyed this Facebook Live format.
Yes, we want to thank all of our viewers and listeners, and we'll be back again next week for a special edition of our Facebook Live presentation of Meldon Law and Friends. And please tell your friends about us, share us with your friends, and we look forward to having more and more listeners. We got Apple Radio, Heart Radio, Cashbox, Geezer, Google, Podcasts, whatever. We're out there. So thank you again for listening to us and watching our program.
We'll see you at the FSU game tonight. Go Gators.
Go Gators!